Welcome back, guys, to the second game of the Royal League season. And in my second game, I meet rank 2 of the Glico rating in the two-player category, which is Martin Pecheur, former world champion, won the first official world championship. Or the second? My memory is so bad. I think Weinbaum won the first, right? Right? I can't remember, sorry. But he won one of those. And yeah, my first game against Weinbaum, I managed to win. It was very close in the end. And the second game of the season is against Martin Pecheur. Let's go right into the game. This is the start. And I think it's a decent start for me. We can take a look at the leaders and wonders, because this, first of all, this start means that I get Hammurabi always on 1 if he touches another card here, which he will do. He won't take stockpile frugality or something, would be very interesting, and even then I would pay for 2 civil actions for Hammurabi, so his start is probably going to be Acropolis. And then we can assess how good Acropolis is in this game. And I would say it's decent. It's not a perfect Acropolis game. I think the leaders that elevate Acropolis above all other leaders are probably Bach and Marlene Dietrich, because that combination, Acropolis and Bach, increase the value of the dramas even more. Dramas become a very efficient technology if you have an increased building limit. I mean, the Acropolis can also thrive with other leaders and other scenarios where there's just a lot of urban buildings, but for the science discount for the governments. But this urban building limit comes above all into play for Bach and then Dietrich as a follow-up. So yeah, I think I touched the topic last video shortly. The strength of the Acropolis. It's strong. Some consider it broken. I don't think so. And I'm actually happy with this start. I would choose this. I also said last video I would choose the other start with the Hammurabi EG, if you remember. If you have seen that. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch that video. It's awesome. Yeah, it was a very tight game. Okay, let's focus on this one. I like the start. I would say it's a little better for me. Martin Pecheur indeed does go for this Acropolis. That, which indeed means I even get this EG possibly. I don't actually even know if I take it. Yeah, probably Hammurabi allows that, right? Or, yeah, not even. I want to be a bit more efficient. I leave the EG for him. Maybe that decision is close, actually. But this is the same rock efficiency. EG for 2 and urban growth for 1 is 1 rock for 1 civil action each. But this turn allows me to also populate. And then if I'm a bit lucky and draw a card, then seeding an event is a bit better, but this is also just a civil action that I want to do anyway. And 1 rock per civil action is not that good a deal that you want to skip this population for this EG. The downside is that he gets it, but I think this is the correct thing to do. And Martin Pecheur has an interesting choice here, because there's a good drop. His first civil action is to build the leader, and now, yeah, it's not that easy to decide, I think. There's a good card here on 1. I mean, for 1 civil action it's still good, especially if you still have to build this wonder. And then the standard turn is probably to populate, take that card, and take another card. Could also maybe just go for a leader, although that sounds a little awful. And he could also just take the monarchy. This early monarchy is very valuable, especially for him with the Acropolis, but also for me with Hammurabi. Can in a lot of cases set up the Hammurabi revolution with monarchy. Yeah, so that's a difficult turn. I don't know. Let's see what he decides to do. He goes for EG, populate, and then actually cultural heritage. Yeah, I'm not certain. I mean, of course, it's a tough choice not to take this EG especially, but the last selection gets a little awkward. This cultural heritage A is yet not that great. And then just spending 3 selections for the monarchy might just be better. It's tough, hard to say. I mean, okay, if he takes this monarchy, then this EG lands on 2, and then you would miss out on both, right? On this EG and this EG. If he leaves this monarchy, chances are that I take it, but I definitely won't take EG1 for 3 selections. So he gets both, which is quite a good start. A lot of rocks. This wonder for free. He's free to go for an H1 wonder. There's a castle, which I like. Touchma is situational, but not bad in 2-player. Definitely not bad if you use it with the discount to take it and with those cards in hand. Yeah, so maybe that's the ultimate reason for not taking his monarchy here for 3. That he gets both of those, and on the other scenario I get that kind of cheap with then a good wonder library. Okay, so he went for this. And draws 2 cards. I did draw the Rebellion. And now I have an interesting decision here to make. I go for the Rebellion. And I have the choice between 2 wonders here, Library and Stonehenge. And I think if you watch my videos, I am not tired of telling you how I don't really like the Stonehenge that much. Well, I always say there's one condition where it's great, actually, and it is if you get access to the early monarchy or the early Court of Laws. And then on top of that, I had this Rebellion already in hand. And so I decide here to seed, first of all, and take monarchy and Stonehenge instead of library, which I consider to be a lot better in a vacuum than the Stonehenge. But I think here with Hammurabi, who gives extra civil actions, with the Rebellion already in hand and the monarchy there in the row, I just want to go for the Stonehenge and develop the monarchy normally next turn. Maybe the revolution is still an option even. But yeah, developing the monarchy normally becomes also a very good option here. So last selection is just building 1 stage for efficiency. Civil action efficiency, frugality A, not really an option, nothing else to do. I draw a developed territory. So Martin Pecheur seeds, development of politics is revealed. He goes for Jeanne d'Arc here. Yeah, well, he has no leader yet, and he just skips the HA leader. And we can check quickly. Jeanne d'Arc is always a solid leader, but rarely a very high impact leader, I feel. So if you just read this, 1 culture per turn, 1 MA is already good. It's already decent. Then she has this extra ability to see the next event, which is really nice. She's solid. But nothing I would go out of my way for. That's not going out of the way though. She's just here. Can absolutely understand the decision to take her. Could also consider just to to take Boudica here and wait for a maybe better leader, but it's a bit questionable. There's a Gutenberg, for example. If I don't take him, he might still be an option. Yeah. yeah, probably the correct choice here to go for Jeanne d'Arc. It's just, why do I ponder this so much on this decision? Because in my personal experience, somehow, although she seems to be quite nice, she rarely, I think, my uh, memories tells me that I didn't have the most success with this leader. Somehow it's just not strong enough. Although it seems not bad, I think I didn't have much success with Jeanne d'Arc in similar situations. But yeah, his alternative would be maybe even Homer. Hope that Gutenberg isn't gone, and then start going for alchemies, later printing presses. Printing presses look great in this game. Might be an option. Yeah, takes her, elects her, takes the EG4 2, puts iron on 1 for me, but he gets the iron on 1 then also next turn. Alright, I do seeds. Yeah, because of the development of politics, I had drawn extra cards. Now I haven't really seen what it was, but if my memory is correct, I actually was pretty lucky here to also draw the other Happy Face event, which is Rebellion. So I have taken, no, I seeded Rebellion already, right? Then Immigration. Yeah, I remember that I put both of those in there, Rebellion and Immigration, after having taken this Stonehenge. Yeah, okay. The first one I already had the information, and the second card came with the development of politics. So it's not that much out of the ordinary, I guess, thanks to the development of politics. But both Happy Face events after having taken, or with having taken Stonehenge. That's obviously pretty good here. Development of science is revealed, which is maybe another extra reason not to go for the revolution. And then there's also other reasons, like there are very good texts here. I would have corruption if I went for the revolution. Could only solve it with populating, and then I would miss out on iron. So I think the natural choice is here to build one stage, develop the monarchy, and I can't even populate. I think I would have preferred to populate here to get out of corruption and then wait for the masonry, build those last two stages with masonry, but that was not an option, not enough food here. So I had to build one more stage as my last selection, and then yeah, take iron, take Richland, and take the drama in hand. It's not necessarily the best drama game, actually, because there's no Bach, no Dietrich, but there's a Shakespeare, and it's just here on 1. And yeah, I've talked a lot about this Brandon 6, just not a good card, especially if there's no Kubata, but even then I would probably just take the drama here. And also, yeah, pretty good here, drawing 2 defense cards already. I have also 2 colonies in hand, so that might be an option just to seed one. I did all that with Hammurabi, but to be fair, I only had 1 turn where I only have drawn 1 card, because then was the politics of the politics of strength, the impact, the development of politics, and then there's the monarchy, and that also draws me 2 cards. So I think, while that definitely not being a bad draw, it's also not that outlandish, I would say. And those colonization cards, especially with the colonies in hand, are nice. I can definitely consider to seed one of those. There is no Suez Canal, but winning a developed territory for free, more or less, is always very good. Martin Pecheur seeds, so the event that flips, and there's a development of settlement revealed. He decides to build the Acropolis here, take iron in hand. Last selection has to be population or maybe building a religion, but he just populates here. And reveals the heavy cavalry as an option. Those knights forces me maybe more or less to take those knights in hand. Yeah, you couldn't realistically take those now. Maybe it would be an option to hide the tactic from me, not reveal that those knights are that valuable, and then if he gets the second one, reveal it. Maybe it's just a distraction. Maybe his cards are so valuable that he thinks, okay, I will do it. Anyway, interesting decision to show this when the knights are dropping on 1 for me. But yeah, it's just some information. It's not like he already decides the direction here by doing that. Just creates an option for me. Shares some information with me. I finished the Stonehenge, develop iron, upgrade an iron, take printing press. The setup for Shakespeare is complete, and printing press is also not only for Shakespeare, but there's also Darwin in the game. So this card has high value, I would say. I do take knights in hand. I don't want to end up in a scenario where he can go for the heavy cav while I cannot. And then even a patriotism. Since, yeah, I do have 3 MA, I do have this extra happy face. So this patriotism can be a lot of value. I even take it over the masonry here. Maybe there's not the best H2 wonders, multiple step wonders here in H1. Also the Great Wall, but after the heavy cav, or in general the Great Wall, I think in 2 players, just a bit too expensive for what it does. And Himeji Castle doesn't thrive on this masonry as much. So there would only realistically be the Transcontinental Railroad, which is a good wonder, but maybe it's not reason enough to go for this masonry. And then I have printing press and dramas. If I get Shakespeare, they are very cheap anyway. And with the iron, yeah, I have enough rocks so that the masonry is not that important. I also don't have excessive signs right now. So just the patriotism for the case that he does indeed want to be a bit aggressive. So I do indeed want to go for those knights. And then the extra MA also to copy the tactic that he already has shown. Yeah, I think I agree with omitting this masonry here. Yeah, also the Great Wall is here. But even if it was somewhere else, it's just not that great for what it does in most 2-player scenarios, I would say. I draw even another colonization card, which is very nice. Also, always an option that he has gone for a colony with this, especially with his 3rd MA early on versus Hammurabi. And Martin Pecheur seeds and indeed opens a strategic territory, reveals a strategic territory, and I'm able to win it with my 3 colonization cards. And this is obviously very good for me. I've touched the value of this strength difference on last game. Discussed a bit the value of the Acropolis strength and then respectively the strategic territory to strength. It's a lot of value, and now if his plan was to maybe dominate early game aggressively by indeed going for those 3 knights on the back of this extra 3 strength, this plan is kind of over, more or less, with the strategic territory going my way. Because I have this 2 extra strength now, and I am set up to contest the possible strength. That being said, the plan is maybe not, in my book, not the optimal plan anyway, because he has this Acropolis, and this Acropolis thrives on the plan of putting buildings here and not on heavy cav. So, I mean, it was probably, if he gets this strategic territory, it will be a little annoying for me actually. But I think it won't be more than a little annoying, even then, because I am with the Stonehenge happy face. It's actually a nice feeling to have this happy face. I never play in the Stonehenge, rarely play obviously the hanging gardens, and then just having this extra happy face feels kind of good. I have to say, you are flexible. Have one extra guy more or less early on. So yeah, I mean the strategic territory going away, definitely very good for me. I'm not certain if I agree that much with this Harry Cav reveal, and I mean we can see where his game plan goes now, because he's not it's not decided yet, right? He starts with the iron, upgrades to, and does take a printing press in hand. So he's still very flexible here. I see that. Okay, I have no idea actually now what that was. Let's actually look back. Does it work like this? Yeah, so it's the pestilence, or yeah, I see that the pestilence. I have 2 extra people here. I get even another one with the immigration here. And I do play a patriotism and build a warrior, so I actually don't really know why. Like this, I can contest another territory, I guess, but I know that I would not win it anyway. I get stronger like this. Yeah, okay, that's the reason. Yeah, okay. I get stronger like this. With the patriotism, it's at least for free, with in the regard that I don't pay rocks and even no draw. And still take Code of Laws for 2 here. Even though I have low signs, I think that tech is still very important. Playing on 4 civil actions is really despair in long term, and he does have the 6th science here. He could go for it. Could go for another philosophy, which then enables him to still go for printing press next turn. And even if I can't develop it for a while, just taking it here is very correct, I would say. I can still take this breakthrough and even the urban growth, right? I decide to populate even instead of taking urban growth. That's a close call, probably. If I take urban growth, castle will be gone, certainly, I think is the argument. And if it's not gone, I'm willing to take it. Yeah. He's probably going to take it, but if he doesn't, it's still also 2 civil actions for him. I am willing to take it. So I guess that's the reason. I draw other cards. Many colonies here in hand, and a tactic, which is also a good option, maybe. Not committing to those knights. Martin Pecheur decides to go for this printing press. Takes knights, plays cultural heritage, and changes the tactic to medieval army, which is a lot more realistic to fulfill now that he has also built a printing press. He couldn't go for Magic Castle here, so I have that option. Let's first see, do we want to seed something? That's cultural influence and some territories, and I do seed the cultural influence. Reveal of scientific breakthrough, which has been seeded by Martin Pecheur, and that means the rebellion is in the back. The last card here, he would have lost out 2 civil actions all this time. See, every time I seeded, I mean, he always, when he seeded, he always saw the upcoming event, so there was no danger there. Could have always fixed it if he had seen it, but like this, I had always the chance to reveal it. I didn't. now he will see that it's there and he will fix his happiness issues before that. But since the rebellion is still in there, I have an interesting choice here. Instead of going for the castle, there's also a St. Pete's Basilica here. I mean, I could also just fix it with a drama maybe, but I prefer to start going for printing press here, increase my science income a bit. And yeah, after that, I would definitely have other options to fix the rebellion issue. But I think between the St. Pete's is actually still good. Back in the day, it was the by far best H1 wonder. I think it was built like 4-4, 2 steps. Now it's 3 steps, and the 6th step is pretty annoying to deal with sometimes. And it's interesting to see how much a wonder falls off actually, just by such a small change. Yeah, 1 extra step and a little more inconvenient to build, and all of a sudden, well, okay, there's also a lot of new wonders. I'm talking about a time where pre-expansion where there wasn't a castle and a forbidden city and so on. Yeah, but still, back in the day it was considered extremely strong, and now it's I don't know. You see it kind of rarely, but still, I think the happy face effect, and if it's not in danger of crumbling, I think that's an aspect. It's hard to play as a first wonder, because when it crumbles, it can crumble your entire civilization. If that is not a danger, then it's still pretty good, and I'm willing to take that. So I go for the printing press. I go for Columbus, which is pretty good here with the inhabited territory, wealthy territory, developed territory, many options, and take the Basilica, elect Columbus and last elections to build another library. Which means I cannot finish it unless I go for this wealthy territory, which might be an option. But I could also then fix rebellion issue with inhabited territory, which might be the better option. No more colonization cards went my way, by the way, which means I never was motivated to seed another territory. And this cartography was also, I guess it was a little awkward to paste 2 civilizations for it. I don't have the science for it, and then if I go for it now, it doesn't mean that I win those territories. And then there's the navigation. Martin Pecheur actually has a good science situation here. Yeah, possible navigation, early navigation H2, and then this cartography becomes very, very bad. So I didn't go for that. Martin Pecheur does see the rebellion, and he decides to fix it with this theocracy. He builds another printing press and takes theocracy. It's some extra synergy with Jeanne d'Arc, because she gives 1 extra one extra strength for this happy face, which makes him stronger also. And it's also always a nice combination, not only because of this extra strength, but because this extra culture income adds up. Yeah, now he's already at +5, which is a good number early on. And we can see at the end of H1, he has already a bit of a culture lead, and he is well set up to expand on that with the Acropolis. And I understand this theocracy pick. There is one downside, and that is that he's stuck on this 4 civil actions. But especially with the Acropolis, you don't need to. You can just swap to an H2 government. It was only 2 signs now, so I think I heavily agree with this choice right now. Yeah, the other downside is he doesn't get this irrigation, right? Or he takes it and corruption. That's a bold move. That's something I would probably never do, but I maybe should sometimes. Yeah, missing out on this food tech here would be awful. There's no wonder at all that deals with being stuck on low food. And I already have the inhabited territory. It would only be the vast territory, and he cannot be 100% certain to win it, even if he had it. So he is willing to take the corruption. Yeah, that's bold. I wouldn't do that, but could be very correct here. He already goes to 20. So he's on 20 plus 5 versus 9 plus 3, which is already, doesn't feel too good in a two-player when you see, okay, he's these 1-2 productions ahead. Definitely have to look out for that a bit. At some point you have to evaluate, can I chill? Can I catch up later? Or do I have to shift a bit to military pressure? And here I would say I can still chill, because it still heavily depends on who gets the Shakespeare. That is also a reason why you can say let's chill. There's internet and Hollywood, so the perfect H2 setup, which is not with those H1 techs, but maybe with printing press into Opera, into multimedia. If you have a setup like that with Shakespeare and build a 50 culture Hollywood, this early lead doesn't mean that much. So the existence of those heavy hitter wonders, and 2 of them especially, for H3 kind of alleviates the early culture pressure, because you still can catch up also in culture with a better infrastructure. So I think the assessment is you can indeed chill, and don't have to. You are not forced yet to go for the military pressure, but it can look different after H2, or already it can look different in 3 turns or something. And it's not like I am falling that much behind. I'm also very greedy here with the 3rd printing press already. I decided to go for the inhabited territory, by the way. There's an argument to be made that I could wait and maybe try to draw an H2 territory before using Columbus, but this turn helped me avoid corruption. Not corruption, the rebellion. And maybe I didn't have a very nice other turn for that. So this inhabited territory 1 is already very good, and if there's maybe 1 better territory or 2 better 1 or 2 territories like the vast 2 and inhabited 2, or maybe 3 territories with the autonomous also, that's a very low chance, and the gain from that gamble is not enough to make a suboptimal turn here, I think. So I decide to play this inhabited territory now. And I take strategy for 3. I think here it's very good, 4 plus 5 signs, multiple shares, 11 plus 4 signs. The strategy enables Republic transition for him. And for me it's also nice because I'm now behind in strength. And he has seeded 1 event here so far. I've seeded 2, but I think I haven't seen too many strength events here. So if I'm not set up for strength events, he might sneak some of those. So I have a lot of civil actions, and paying those 3 civil actions for strategy versus what would be the alternative, taking breakthrough and frugality or something, I think that is a no-brainer actually. And it's just also lucky for me that the strategy is here. And I have a very good draw here early on with the knights already in hand. I haven't built them yet, but I have them in hand, and then this tactic becomes insanely efficient. It's a mobile artillery. Cannons also already here. he might take them, but it's the first cannons. I can't imagine that he wants to do that. Yeah, he goes for the food income, increase population. And here we see how sad it is to play on 4 civil actions, because he misses out on very valuable cards like here Breakthrough, maybe even this Cultural Heritage still. Because he only has 4 civil actions, yes. But it's on 12 plus 4 science. He could probably still just develop a government that drops. I get cannons for 1. The other cannons are already in the row. And I think like this, yeah, is perfect. Also a bit lucky that I can just put them here. So he has to pay 2 civil actions for that. And making him pay 2 civil actions while he only has 4 always feels extra good. I can build this Basilica, develop the strategy to get stronger, just for the possible strength events here. And I still have to take this efficient upgrade to do what I just said. So that's the ultimate reason for that, I think. And it's also still a good card for me. Want to upgrade this, want to upgrade food. So that comes together quite nicely here. Martin Pecheur Seeds reveals the Pestilence, which I seeded. I had a lot of population lying around. I still have one lying around, and Pestilence is also always a little extra good against the Acropolis player, but because extra population in those urban buildings has extra value for the Acropolis player. So we have that bug. Where are we here? 9. Is that correct? Kinda. Okay, the Pestilence is revealed. And Martin Pecheur goes for Darwin here, which I agree with. It's a good or decent timing. We are still kind of early in H2. He gives him some extra civil actions, which he desperately needs. And this turn enables him to still take those cannons, which are pretty crucial. And he also doesn't have the best alternatives, I think. I think Darwin is pretty decent. It adds on the cultural pressure a bit. After his turn, he increases his lead a bit. It means corruption again, but maybe he didn't have the best way to deal with it anyway. So he's on 36 plus 8 now. I'm on 19 plus 6. Crusades are revealed, so he indeed did go for maybe not the highest impact strength event there, but he was willing to see the strength event, which I was able to win thanks to the strategy. Or let's say win very cheaply thanks to the strategy. I didn't have to invest anything else. And yeah, it is a big swing, and it is an 8 culture going my way, or if you look at it after it's been seeded, if I win it or he wins it, it's a 16 culture swing in the zero-sum game. So winning versus losing it, high impact. 16 culture is almost an H3 wonder in some games. Yeah, won't complain about winning the Crusades. Irrigation, I go for this. Irrigation increase my food income a bit. Still take a rich land with the plan of maybe even building another one and then being set for the food income for the rest of the game. Navigation could be an option actually with those territories in hand, but I have no colonization cards in hand at all. So if I think, okay, let's go for navigation, seed some colonies, and he just has those cards in hand, then this navigation is not necessarily enough to win them, so I don't go for that. Also, I have other plans here. With this mobile artillery, I do have decent signs, but not like abundant that I can do anything. And there's 11 signs lying around here, which I very likely want to go for during H2 still. Or at least the knights, and then later maybe the cannons. No government yet. And at some point you are not willing to transition to an H2 government anymore, I think. You will wait as an Acropolis player for the H3 government, more likely. And the cultural influence is actually a bit better for Martin Pecheur. He populates, builds a farm, takes opera. Could have taken justice system maybe, but he's also just not forced to do it already. I will not spend 3 civil actions on a justice system when I have Court of Laws already, so he can just do it next turn, I guess. And yeah, I had this quite nice turn, I would say, where he also goes for the third irrigation and has a good resource situation here. Goes to 50 plus 8. Even with the Crusades, he increases his lead a bit. And has a lot of signs. So his situation, it's, I would say, it looks very open, this game. His only problem is this. And once he fixes that, it's looking pretty good, I think. And with this, I mean the civil actions. Call to arms is revealed, which is especially bad for him. So maybe it was pretty greedy of him to seed this, actually. Yeah, losing 2 civil actions while being on 4 is... oh, that hurts a lot. That hurts a lot. The governments finally drop. And we have this again. Is it only my version of the game? Can you fix this, please? Ethil? Where are we? 11. The government's dropped finally. He could still go for it with Darwin. Will be interesting to see if he does that. It's also the justice system. I think my gut feeling says it's not super late. It's I don't know, 2/3 of H2 gone. So it could still be correct. You see the numbers, they are very low here. Science cost thanks to the Acropolis. So it might still be correct just to transition to Conmon or Republic even. Republic sounds a bit greedy, considering that he then goes down to 2 military actions. Yeah, but let's first look at my turn. So there's no second opera inside. And yeah, apparently it's just a good moment to start building some military here. I can build a cannon first because I can still draw the completely ridiculous fortifications. And developing these knights, I would still have time if I don't do that. Yeah, improve my income here and take the wave, high impact card, efficient upgrade still for... I prefer it over EG because I'm not going for one of those wonders with this, like if I play like this. And the reserves, I prefer the efficient upgrade over the reserves for those multimedia upgrades later. Still no colonization cards, so all those colonies that I draw are not an option, but I draw Ravages of Time, which is high impact against Acropolis. If it's revealed before he gets his discount for another government, then yeah, the Acropolis loses a lot of its value. Popularization of science is revealed. Martin Pecheur goes for justice system, which means he decides not to go for an H2 government. Very understandable, but I think it's not obvious whether that's correct. It's Maybe a close call. Maybe I misjudged, but I would probably do the same. So yeah, those call to arms hurt him. Arms industry revealed. I get 4 rocks, Martin gets 2. And here indeed I didn't draw another tactic, so I go for the setup of the mobile artillery with the knights. I also show the tactic. He already has shown a tactic. Maybe it would be a bit wiser not to show it. He could still decide here to also go for cannons. Knights. But I show it and I'm not willing to take those riflemen. I think like this, we both have a tactic. I think in any situation he has a tactic anyway. The only option would be to not show it and then take riflemen for 3 here, which I don't want to do. So showing it also kind of forces him to react to my strength push because I have aggressions in hand. I have plenty of military actions, so if he doesn't react to it, I can maybe just declare an aggression. Pull through an aggression. Still take the architecture, which can still be very high impact. Shakespeare is guaranteed to go my way, and the second opera will still drop, so this is also still part of the game plan. But yeah, I'm willing to build another cannon, and I'm getting rid of the wave actually, because it doesn't realistically look like I'm getting value out of this anytime soon, and it bricks my hand. And this is very good with my last draw. I draw a war technology, which is better than those aggressions. With another knight, I'm getting to, 26 strength or something. Martin Pecheur takes team sports. It's a convenient happy phase solution here for him. Is there a couverture? No, we've already covered that. There's no couverture, but still, those team sports look very crucial here. Goes for it. Goes for still then for knights with the plan maybe to still copy the mobile artillery. Doesn't take those riflemen for 2. It would only be 1 even with Darwin. And for now, copies the medieval army, which maybe allows him to defend aggressions. So I decide to, if I remember correctly, go for this war technology. It's just too efficient. Shakespeare gives me the extra happy face, which makes this guy available for the military. I go to 25 strength. And take Revideer, take Cavalryman for the option of the mechanized army, the H3 OP tech. If you have such a setup, it means you win. Architecture, and I can still go for the opera then next turn. Yeah, if we look at this, he is 14 culture ahead. He has a bit better income, but I think this war technology now is extremely annoying for him. It's interesting to see how he can react to that. I think he can react to it. Not that great actually. So he can, what can he do? He can build a cannon and copy the tactic, and that puts him to +3, and then +5 instead of 2 is also 3, +6 it's 15. Then he loses 10 signs. Maybe this justice system I can steal. I think if he's lucky, he gets the military theory. That's his best option. I think that puts him into a spot where he doesn't lose attack here. And indeed, the military theory drops and he goes for it. Develops it, and then he builds another pair. He has to disband philosophy, and it's still the case that it is very annoying for him in a sense that he's on 0+3 now and loses those 3. I'm not able to steal anything, but even if I could steal the justice system, I would probably not do it and keep him on 0 science, so he cannot easily develop an H3 government. Yeah, so this means only 3 science for me, but the work is done. The war has done a lot of damage here. Which means I can now focus on catching up in this culture income game. And yeah, already with the 1 opera, I'm at +11. He had to disband philosophy. He has still to be wary of my military potential, so he cannot go very freely for extra buildings here. The next guy he gets out is even not happy. So I think in this situation I'm already not afraid anymore of his small culture lead, which is already overcome more or less. He takes the democracy for 3 here nonetheless. He can still hope to go for it, maybe in 2-3 turns, maybe with a rev idea, maybe with a revolution. But yeah, if the Acropolis stands, the revolution is already nonsensical. It's already down to 12 science cost, so it's not that impossible to still go for that. Takes the endowment for the odds as his last action. We have seen actually the Hollywood go through, right? Yeah, it wasn't really possible for me, and he doesn't really have the setup. I win the politics of strength here. And now I have to be honest, I'm not entirely certain if I have played it or him. And we have this bug again. Yeah, but winning that in H3 is always a huge deal. I draw a ton of cards, impacts. This bug. It's pretty annoying. Where were we? I don't know. Here? No. Yeah, roughly here. And we are back at the bug. So this should be correct, right? Or is this too far? No. We are exactly at this moment. A ton of cards. I draw a lot of imps. No war, though. So drawing a war would be a good option because especially now, I have a lot of science. I can get these air forces. I think I threaten a game-deciding war, and I haven't drawn it yet, so hopefully I will draw it soon. But on the other hand, of course, a lot of impacts, and with the setup, many impacts are good. Not that insanely crazy. Like, I cannot name a single impact here that gives me like 10 culture, maybe the variety, but even that. He's also prepared for most of those impacts that I've drawn. So yeah, let's see. I'm free to go to this 21 culture income now with 2 operas, so it's good that I'm not this war draw is not my only out for this game. It is a good out. It's a winning out, I think, in this situation. But it's not my only out. I can just go for this 21 culture income. This internet is too expensive. Pay all those civil actions for. And it will be interesting to see if he is willing to do that or can even do that in this situation. his setup right now is not good enough to justify it for himself, but in the zero-sum game, maybe this internet's just more or less deciding. Maybe not, maybe also a good option is to set up for a red cross for him. Yeah, I think this internet's too expensive, civil action-wise. He spends a warrior, dispense another warrior, and yeah, he realizes he has to be greedy here. He still defends aggressions here with his military theory, is set up to transition to the mobile artillery, maybe even copies it already. No, isn't willing to miss out on a draw. Yeah, but he has to be greedy in the regard of building those printing presses here with Darwin, and able to stay in the game. The independence declaration is revealed. Martin has no colonies. It means the events that just played out mean that I get this internet here for 3 civil actions after the increased cost. My culture potential right now is maxed out. I'm not willing to go for movies. It's a bit too inefficient. I would probably be very willing to go for multimedia if I could, but since nothing's here, I built another cannon. I can still draw a war and threaten a huge war with 2 air forces. I'm not willing to commit too much to another pair here, just the extra cannon already does work. And did not draw a war, but more impact of harmony is not that bad after all. But again, yeah, I mean, he just disbanded some military, so it's a bit better for me. But he can also still rebuild, or maybe even has to still rebuild some, so it will also again maybe not be insane. But it's a good draw here. The impact of harmony is a good draw. Martin Pecheur reveals the Ravages of Time, which I seeded, and that is maybe the final blow for this game for him. Maybe it was pretty greedy from him to seed into a possible Ravages of Time. On the other end, I think he also already was in a spot where he was a little desperate and he needed to win some gambles, needed to create every possible culture and just hope that there's no ravages. Yeah, those ravages mean he couldn't go for the democracy now here. Without the ravages he could with the rev idea. So he goes for, what is it, opera instead. And realistically I think he has no outs anymore in this game. Impact of population is revealed. It is +4 for me. I think most of those impacts were not insanely good for me, but every impact that I seeded, and I had a lot of impacts and seeded a lot of impacts, they were all a bit of a culture income for me. So that was already good enough. I decide to go for the communism here, so I can build an extra pair. No, I don't even build the extra pair, I just built the wonder. Okay, but I can still do it next turn then, maybe. I see, I remember this, building this internet now, and the communism was just for the civil actions then, and maybe for impacts. And if I build this wonder now, I get the Shakespeare bonus still, and the internet was 22 culture like this, and I can still go for this empire state building next turn, which is, I think, pretty good. Yeah, it gives me the extra rock, the 7th, which puts me at there. Maybe I can still cheat the food income, and then culture income is already stronger, military is already stronger. Only thing not stronger is science. Maybe I can even cheat that. Let's see. Maybe it's also not in the end what I do, depending on what he does here. Goes for the democracy this one turn later now, and builds a bunch of food. which contests the food aspect of the state building and also enables him to build some, 4 stages of the Red Cross. Well, it's a creative game play here. Yeah, and as we have seen, that's interesting side note. I've drawn, I think I counted it 19 cards in H3 and I've drawn no war, which didn't matter in the end because things turned out I had other things going for me. I won't complain. But if war was my win condition, I wouldn't have drawn it. And that's also why I hate the entire philosophy of building up for that H3 war, because there's just things like this happening, and then okay, it's maybe 0.5% not to draw a war out of 19 cards, but still, it just happens sometimes. Yeah. Impact of colonies here. 6-0. Another one of those impacts that give me like 5-6 culture. And I indeed go for this Empire State building for 21 culture. Still pretty decent. I could also build one stage of the fast food, not fast food chains, the Red Cross here. Crime Wave is revealed. And in the end, very big gap here. Didn't necessarily look like that towards the end of H2, but I think what happened, the continuous lack of civil actions, then my tactic draw, mobile artillery, into this last card. I think the nail in the coffin was that war over technology draw. Yeah, I think those were the big ones. Then there's always a thousand small things that happen in a game like this. But these were probably the big ones that enabled me to win this game. Also, maybe, that in the long run, the Shakespeare just creates more value than a Darwin. But I think in normal games, this timing difference would mean a closer outcome here. The other things were more impactful than Shakespeare being a bit better than Darwin. So, I won't complain with my luck in this game. I had many things going for me. Already winning the strategic territory in the early game makes a huge difference. A very big difference for the outcome of the game, for how it plays out. And I didn't draw that war, but if I had to choose a game where I don't draw that war, that would probably be this game, right? It didn't matter. So GG, well played. I'm pretty happy. I managed to win my second game here out of 2 games against maybe the 2 strongest opponents, at least Lico-wise. And my recent games against Martin Pecheur, I think he had the upper hand more often than not. I also had some wins, but in those tournament games, he had one up on me. Here, I managed to win. Okay. Thanks for watching. I think I have said everything I wanted to say about this game, and see you in the next one.